All right, all right. Shalom, 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 family. Shabbat shalom. It's another blessed day. We here again. Um, get this set up real quick. That should be good. Up here on another Saturday morning. I thank God for allowing everybody to be here. Thank the Most High for everybody being able to wake up this morning and be able to see this. For those who don't or couldn't wake up this morning, my prayers go out to them. Condolences go out to their families. Because each and every day, somebody doesn't wake up. Multiple people at times. People die through all the times, right? You might have people talk about like a celebrity or somebody that died. Like, oh, such and such died. It's crazy. Everybody dying. Well, people die all the time. Just go get a newspaper, open up the obituary section, and you'll see that people die quite often, right? Thousands of people every day. Some people in your neighborhoods, in your cities, in your towns, your states. Just go look at the death toll. The death toll is crazy, right? And that's a little bit what I want to talk about. About how we live in today. And how we so focus on tomorrow and stuff like that. Because like I said, tomorrow is not promised. That's what this the title is. Tomorrow isn't promised, right? And I feel like so many people believe that. Like, it's a lot of people in hell that thought they was gonna have another day. You know what I'm saying? Right. Now mind you, I'm not saying they had another day necessarily to fix it or they was trying to fix it, because some people don't care. There's some people out here who just, don't believe in God and stuff like that, and God will call them a fool, right? It's in Isaiah. He will call them a fool. But there's also people who do believe in God, but they struggle with things day to day. But they also uh, push a lot of things off, right? And I don't think that's something you should do, but people do it, right? And we're going to talk about that today, about tomorrow just not being promised. So I'm gonna say the Lord's prayer, and then we're gonna start the lesson. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right, so tomorrow not being promised, right? So everybody woke up today, they probably got y'all, people, yourselves, myself included, you probably got things that's further out, trips, vacations, heck, you might be just trying to go to the store tomorrow, right? Just to go get some food, right? And people will always push those things aside. Like, yeah, I'll just go do it tomorrow, or I'll do it to this, or I'll do it that, right? Which is cool. We all done it. I know I'm guilty myself, but if you haven't done it, hey, kudos to you. You're a strong one, right? But I know I've done it plenty of times where I'd be like, well, I'll just do that tomorrow. I'll get there tomorrow, right? And then what happens is, let's say, tomorrow has came for me. Fortunately, been blessed to see another tomorrow. So still here seeing tomorrows, right? When I go do something tomorrow, boy, it's not how I planned it. I tell you that much, right? I run into traffic. I run into all these things. Like I go grocery shopping on Saturday nights, right? Nobody in the store. I ain't got to bump elbow to elbow with people who don't know, who are there looking and inspecting the apple as they dock the apple, dock the fruit, right? I don't have a bunch of people don't know what they want. They arguing with their, significant other or child. I don't got time for that. So I go at nighttime, ain't nobody in there. I can walk around the store, I can look, I can experiment and do those things, right? But the days that I do push that off, right, besides like a feast day, because I don't do it on those days. The days I do push that off, right, then I got a debate because Sunday isn't my usual day to do this, right? But it changes a lot and it alters a lot. I don't know if the store gonna be crowded. I don't gonna be traffic. Everybody and their mama go to church on Sunday mornings, and that's a whole nother rush, right? I don't know what to expect, right? But I look at it like I do now. I try my hardest to do it within the days I say I'm gonna do it, right? Because I don't know what tomorrow brings, right? I can't even see tomorrow, right? And that's probably Satan's favorite word, tomorrow, right? Because now it can put a form of procrastination on you, right? I tell people this all the time when they go to the gym. The best day or the day where you're gonna be something in the gym is the second day. Not the first, not the third, not the fourth. It's that second day, right? Because after the first day, let's say you go, right? You work out with your friends, you get a good workout, you hurting, right? But you probably hurting bad, right? So that second day is critical because that's the day you don't want to go back. You tired, you burnt out, right? And you know what you're gonna say? I'll go tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow, and then tomorrow turns into 2 weeks, right? And 2 weeks turn into a month, and you're probably not back in the gym. I used to, work out people in my old neighborhood, and everybody worked out. They never came back, right? They always did. I mean, I had one brother, my brother Eli, he came back, but everybody else didn't come back, right? They all just tapped out. But I tell them all the time, that's the strength you need, but that's the way you gotta look at it because you may not have a chance to get to that model, right? I know it was a rough day or tough day out there. I mean, I'm with the same tough, rough day you went through. My arms hurt too, my legs hurt too, right? But then my mental takes over, my spirit takes over, and I get past that day, right? But I also accept the day, right? And live in that day and cherish that day that I had because without that day, I might not have made it to the next day anyway, right? But I cherished it and I wanted to make sure I maxed out everything I could get, right? Because people live days and they always think tomorrow is coming, right? But you may not. So that person that you got an argument with or fight, things like that. I tell people all the time, don't do it. My friend, he got problems with his sister. I say, look, man, you only get one sister. You only got that one particular sister, right? Even still, let's say you had multiple sisters. That one that you have a problem with, you shouldn't do it, right? I had a sister too. She's gone, right? And I didn't go out like that, but let's say I did. You may go out with ill intentions towards somebody. Let's say I hated my sister, which I did. Let's say I hated my sister, we was beefing or something. Now she gone. I'm gonna live with that, right? Because I always thought it was gonna be tomorrow. I mean, even in my case, I didn't have that problem, but I didn't think she was gonna go pass away, but she did, right? So anything I had, anything I wanted to say, anything I wanted to do, that's all gone because I was so banked on that she gonna be here tomorrow, right? It's almost like an entitlement. I feel like she gonna be here tomorrow, but I already know. In my mind, I know that people not gonna be here the next day, but I didn't approach the situation like that, right? So it's like, okay, cool. I seen her one day, she was good. Next time I seen her, she was in a bad situation, right? And now it's like, okay, she might not make it out of the situation. So now every day is critical. Get a call, she passed away. All right, cool, right? But just think about how people do that on everyday life, right? They do that with job. They do that with marriage or relationships, right? They do that with family. They do that with everything, right? They always try to push something off. And I was like, yeah, but you just may not know that you don't know what's going on tomorrow. So let's say you pushed all that. I push all the groceries, right? I don't want to go tonight. I'm tired. Even though I'm not tired enough to go, I can still go. I just don't want to do it, right? I don't want to go. But God want me to go because that's what that routine I've been going on. He might even tell me to go, right? But you know what? Most people don't ask God for things anyway. But God said go. I'm like, I don't want to go. Cool. You know what? I might not even die tomorrow, but then I might get in a real bad accident, right? And then I'd be like, dang, God, why this happened to me? But before, I could have did it yesterday. Could have maxed out everything. I wouldn't have been put in that danger. The store could be getting robbed. It can be getting hostage, right? I could have removed myself from that danger. Now, is that the case in everything? No, because you don't have so much control over your life. But what you do have is what you got to do in a day. So, like today, you leave church. You may want to study. You may want to play the game. You may want to watch TV. You may want to relax. All those things is fine, right? But at the end of the day, right? At the end of the night, do you ask yourself, do you think you maxed out your day? Do you think you did enough that you feel fulfillment under the sun? Because like I said, you go to sleep, right? You may not wake up tomorrow, right? I tell people all the time, you go to sleep, you have no idea where you at, what's going on. Somebody taps you and then your body alerts itself and now you woken up. But that sleep is the cousin of death, right? Because during that time period, you have no knowledge of the outside world. People could be in your house robbing you, wouldn't know you sleep, right? So just think about that's a blessing, that's the grace, that's the mercy every day you wake up. But the day before, did you do enough, right? So now God giving you grace and mercy, right? So He talking to you, hey, you want to figure it out, you can figure it out today, right? And let's do better, let's do this. But some people don't do that, right? Because they, like I said, they always looking for tomorrow. Oh, I plan a trip. I'm going to Cuba in May. Well, I'm going to Cuba in June. It's a lot of months between, right now and June, right? You got April, you got May. You may not make it to June. You may die tomorrow. You might go away on May. You might go away the day before your vacation. You have no idea, right? But like I said, some people were so far ahead to then while they're making this journey, right? The journey not even fun no more. Cause everybody's so focused on the destination. Yeah, I know you want to get rich. Yeah, I know you want to be a popular singer. Yeah, I know you want to go to your vacation. But all the steps in between, nobody cares about that. Like in a relationship, right? People care about like the climax moment, but nobody cares about the stuff to get through it, right? So now you neglect all that stuff, you negate all that stuff, and this is the stuff that actually built you to this moment, right? So you take away all those little things because you're so focused on tomorrow. You're so focused on so far in the future, thinking that it's always gonna be here, but it may not be here. So how about today, you say what you got to say, or today you love a person like you're supposed to love a person, or you work your butt off at this job, or if you're in the sports, you do that, right? Do all that today. Because like I said, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So we're going to talk about a couple scriptures about um about tomorrow, right? So the first one is Proverbs 27 and 1. Oh, that ain't good. Proverbs 27 and 1. Chapter 27, verse 1. Can I add words of you? Maybe I can. Background music. That's it. Proverbs 27 and 1. It reads, Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. So right here, this is talking about don't worry about tomorrow, right? All right, you boasting about, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that tomorrow. Like, I be like that too. When I was younger going to school, oh man, I can't wait to get this outfit for school or wait to go off and show off to all these girls and stuff, right? And the whole time I ain't even focused on the day. I'm so hyped about tomorrow, right? Like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but I know I've been there myself. I'm so focused on tomorrow I ain't even worried about the day. And it says you don't know what today may bring forth, right? So I'm supposed on tomorrow, I might get in an accident. Next time I go back to school, it's 2 weeks later. You know what I'm saying? You have no idea. When I was in school, when my sister passed away, man, I was out of school for like, I don't know, maybe a month. It was to a point where I wanted to go back to school, and I was looking at my mom, and I was like, "Oh, you going back to school?" Like, because I was gone so long. I was gone so long. People thought I'm like moved. They thought I switched schools. Like it was crazy. When I came back, I never forget it. It was kind of funny. I uh I had the note saying that I had a family member pass away, and I gave it to my gym teacher, and he was like, "Man, you've been gone for a long time." And I was like, my sister passed away, and he was like, "Boy, you doing a lot of grieving," and it made me laugh because in reality I wasn't. I was probably like done grieving after a week or so, or whatever, maybe a couple of days, I don't know. But I just stayed home because I guess my mom was grieving it, but hey, she didn't even say that to us. So I was thinking to myself, like, are we going to school today? But I didn't care. I didn't like school anyway. But just to say, you never know. So I missed the whole thing of school, but it actually helped me pass. I was failing one of my classes, but I wanted to pass, and they had to give me, like, I guess the grade I had before or something. I don't know. But that was cool. That was glory to God. But you just don't know what happened, right? Because you like I say you so focused on the next day or weeks ahead, but you ain't get past the day. You know what I'm saying? I look at videos on TikTok and stuff like that, saying people in car accidents, all types of stuff. You just don't know. And if people don't mean like don't even be drunk, a drunk driver hit them or somebody do this or somebody do that. You just don't know. And I get it. I'm not saying you can't look towards tomorrow or like you got things and plans, but like make sure everything today is maxed out because you it's not promised tomorrow. Nobody is promised the next day, right? That's how it works. So this is the next one is Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. Matthew 6:34. Let's have a background. Let's see. Matthew 6:34 reads, Take therefore no thought for tomorrow. For the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. So this is Christ talking, right? And he was saying, don't take no thing, don't worry about tomorrow, right? Focus on what today because the day got enough evils in it already. You know what I'm saying? You might go to work or you do this or whatever the case may be. And don't even know. Like we had an incident where somebody got hurt, at my place of work, and this is the thing that happens all the time. Not the injury, but it's something I do. One of my jobs, and somebody got hurt by doing something so simple that somebody been doing for years, and they freaking out or whatever, right? And I'm pretty sure the day before they didn't even think about them like that was gonna happen, right? But now they so messed up today, right? They can't even focus on the next day. So the person did something to somebody by accident, whatever. And the next day she freaking out. She just like, man, I'm traumatized. I can't do this. She going around telling everybody, I'm like, yeah, you can't even focus on your job. So now I'm asking her like, you get that person, you do this and that, because she's so distraught from what happened yesterday. She can't even focus on the day. So she looking towards tomorrow. Now she want to quit. Now she want to retire. Now you want to quit. Now you want to retire. It happened. But like I said, you don't know the evils in today, right? Give you another example. We was at work, they sent out a message and they said that somebody was stealing cars, right? This was funny. Somebody was stealing cars or whatever. Okay, cool. Somebody stealing cars, and they can take my car because I don't want it anyway. So they were stealing cars, but come to find out, the police come up there. They looking for the car, looking for the dude, asking him questions. It wasn't that nobody stole the car. He misplaced his car. He put the car in the wrong spot in the garage and then forgot. Right. So he called the police because of that. Right. Now the police is up here not even solving real crimes, but they appear because of that, right? But now that mindset had went to everybody before they had made the message that cleared it up. That went to the next day, they worry about, oh, I'm gonna get my car stolen, this and that. So now you so focused on what didn't even happen, right? You so focused on that instead of just focusing on what's going on. You lost all focus on your job today, everything, because you're so focused on this week, or you're so focused on payday. Oh, I get paid Friday. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. You get paid Friday, it's Monday. You still got Tuesday, you still got Wednesday, you still got Thursday. You may not even make it today, right? But people be so focused on that, right? So next is James, is chapter 4, verses 13 through 15. So James chapter 4, verses 13 through 15. It reads, it says, go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy, sell, and get gain. Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow. For what is your life? It is even the vapor that appear for a little time and then vanish away. For they ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. So he's telling you, like, look, if the Lord will it, that's what we're going to do, right? But like I said, nothing's guaranteed. So even if we feel like we should be doing this tomorrow, that's true. You can still feel like that. You can still plan to do that. You can have all those things, right? But don't put so much focus on it. Like you said, we need to do what we need to do today, right? Say go down. You say that you say today or tomorrow. We will go to the city, right? Continue there, yeah, get all the stuff. But he tells them, right, what shall be on the morrow? For what is your life? It's a vapor that appear for a little time and vanish away. If you ever seen somebody smoking vape or something that makes vapors, right? You'll see the vapor and it go in the air, it vanish. All right, or like an air can, like an aerosol can, like a Lysol can. You see it, right, and it just goes away. That's how he's comparing your life, right? Like I said, right now it's like that, and then boom, and go away. I've been on Earth for 30 plus years, right? And people will come in my office, they like I'm 60 something or 70. They're like, yeah, I'm old, right? I'm old as dirt, this and that. And I'm like, nah, I met people out here that's been 100 years old, right? So if you're old as dirt, what are they? Like atoms? Like, you know what I'm saying? But still, 100 years is nothing compared to depending on what you believe in. I believe in God, so I think the Bible is 6,000 plus years, going on 7. Some people believe in billions of years. So really, I mean, 60 years ain't nothing. 70 years ain't nothing. Even 100 years ain't nothing compared to a billion, right? So I guess it um, all depends on how you look at it, right? But like I said, the vapor it can go away right there in a moment. Like I said, which is true. It's plenty of people um, that I've known in my life, and they've had that. And not saying that I don't know where they're at, don't know if they're in heaven, don't know if they're in hell or not heaven, but I don't know if they're on the wrong side of Abraham's bosom or not, right? So I don't know if they're in paradise or Hades or torment, right? And I say this because I experienced this myself, right? So when I had social media, I was on Facebook, and people see your birthday, which I don't really care about my birthday, right? But people see it and they comment, happy birthday, actually happy birthday, birthday. But usually what I would do, because there'd be some people that's trying to comment on your birthday, even receiving text messages, what I would do is I would wait, right? Wait all the way to like the end of the day or the next day, and I'll say thank y'all for coming on my birthday. I had a friend, never forget it. Pretty cool dude, and his birthday was a couple days before mine, right? So his birthday came, I said happy birthday to him, whatever. And he's like, thank you, X, Y, Z. So he said it to me, kick it up, which we would do all the time, whatever the case may be, going around the neighborhoods doing what we do. He said that to me, right? And the next day, when I was going to proceed to do that, man, I got a text message said he gone. He had, passed away in sleep last night. He was a young person at the time too. I was like maybe 26 or so. He might have been like 23, 24. He was a little younger than me. And he passed away in his sleep. You know what I'm saying? No form of narcotics, no nothing. He's passed away in his sleep. And I was like, dang, I didn't even get to thank him for that. You know what I'm saying? In his mind, he could have been like, that was the last thing I heard from Juice, nothing. Jew ain't say nothing to me or whatever. But it wasn't like that. We was good friends. I talked to him. Every time I see him, laugh him up. I think, he had a good heart. And I didn't even get to say that to him because tomorrow is not promised. Right? I'm talking about he might have posted this at 6, 7 o'clock at night. 8 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, he gone, right? Already. So I didn't even have a whole day to even, do anything. So that's just an example I've been through myself. Like you just don't know, right? And I'm not telling you gotta say thank you to somebody's birthday right away, XYZ, but just think about that. Like I thought it was sweet because I mean the other day I said something to him. We both woke up next day and next day and next day, and nothing was wrong. He had just got married and everything, just got married, was traveling, he was happy, man, living life, and then wake up and his significant other's wife, I think they found him, not moving, not breathing, and he just gone, right, or whatever. Like I said, but I just say that to you, just don't know. I've had plenty of phone calls. Usually it's always in the morning. When I was younger, one of my best friends, went away, and I just seen him, and I think a wrestling event was coming up soon, so he was, hung out there and did the wrestling thing. And I was probably like maybe I don't know, 7, 8 years old or whatever. And I walked downstairs. It was crazy. I don't ever wake up in the morning this early. I walked downstairs to go to the bathroom. I went down to the bathroom. I had phone ring. I'm like, well, it's kind of early. Who called the house at 6 o'clock in the morning? And somebody called and said, Jamal died and he got hit by a car. And I'm like, dang, got hit by a car? Like on a bike path by a drunk driver. Fell on top of him, hit him and everything. All that, right? And just to say this was a friend, it was a child, right? He wasn't older than much than me. He might have been like 10 or so. Wasn't that much older than me, but he gone, right? I ain't get to hang out with him like I was supposed to that week in school or anything. So just saying that you live in the day, right? And just try to max out your day. And I know, like I said, sometimes it may be hard and it may be difficult, but I think a lot of it's because the mindset ain't there for you to do that anyway. You already set on focusing on what you want, right? And usually what you want ain't usually in today, right? That day was tomorrow, a couple of days before that, right? So now you at that day, you do everything for that day. And once you do everything for that day, the next few days probably don't matter, right? Until you get to the next promise that you think you're gonna get, right? Whether it's like, let's say I go to vacation Saturday today, right? I do my vacation, I come back and I'm at work. So while I'm at work, man, these next 30 days don't really matter. I'm just going, right? But I'm waiting for another event that happens like a month later. That's what I'm preparing for. But like I said, you preparing for that, and you may not even get that. And mind you, while you might not even get there, you might also miss a lot of other blessings in between. People in your life, people trying to help you out, treat you nice, do these things. You could be so mean and nasty to people and not caring because you're so focused on what you want to do, not realizing they could have made that event that you're going to better. You might skipped it and went to another better event or something. You have no idea, right? But that's all because you're so focused on tomorrow, right? You're not focused on today. You're not thinking about that you woke up. You're not thinking about like the food that you ate. You're not thinking about none of these things because, like I said, you feel so entitled and believe that that's what's supposed to happen, right? So the next verse is in Proverbs, it's 21 and 1, 21 and verse 1. And it's God is in control, right? Always in control, never not been in control, right? Even when the bad stuff happened, God is in control. Even when the good stuff happened, God is in control, right? And people that's like atheists or whatever don't believe in God, they hate this because they was like they'll say, well, why is all this bad stuff happening? Well, the bad stuff is actually happening because of us. It's not because of God, right? Did He create evil and stuff like that? Sure, but it's not happening because of that. We get free will, so you can't have both. If you want me to control everything, you're not gonna have free will. It's not gonna do what you want to do, right? Just imagine a world where you can't lie, You can't steal. You can't do nothing. Like you're not capable of doing those things, right? The world will be totally different, right? It'll be so much different. I actually think it'll be more miserable people that way in reality, right? But it doesn't mean that I want people to sin. And I'm only saying this because then I ask people all the time, what's a perfect world? How do you get a perfect world? They always complain about the world not perfect and why God make a perfect world. Well, the world actually is perfect in the sense it need to be because you have to have an imperfect world first before you have a perfect world, right? And I say that because you have to also show what happens when you go against God, right? So for instance, I say, what's a perfect world? Like for me, what's a perfect height? I can say I want to be 6'4" or 6'6", 6'8", but then there's gonna be somebody's gonna be 7 feet and he taller than me. So now I'm mad. So now my perfect height ain't the height that I thought I wanted, right? People like, oh, you taller than me, but you so tall. I'm actually not taller than you. I'm actually not taller. I'm just taller than you, right? Because if he was taller than me, but you have no idea what perfection is because you're looking for the wrong thing. You're perfected in the way God made you. That's your perfection, right? Your gifts, the way you look, all that. That is the perfection that is in, right? Now, mind you, is there a more better body and stuff like that? Sure, there's a temporary. Adam and Eve sin changed a whole lot of things. Because I'm pretty sure their bodies were immaculate. They probably can see across the, I don't know, across the lake, everything, right? But we've been declining because that's what copies are. Copies are just declining of the originals, right? You get an original file like on a computer or something. Let's say I got the original file, I send it to you, you send it to them, you send it to them. Every time the file is being sent and copied over, it diminishes, right? So the original file is the cleanest file. It's um, the file that is closest to perfection, right? If anything, if there is perfection, that would be it. But every time you copy something, a duplicate is never going to be the same, right? Whether it's a phone, piece of paper, every time there's a duplicate, it's always a problem. And with God, He's so amazing because there is no duplicates anyway, though, right? You know what I'm saying? You can say I'm a copy of my dad and my dad's dad, right? But I'm not necessarily a copy, right? I'm just a different form of a mix of two people because it takes another person for me to be even born, right? So it's still two people, right? What they're mixing. But yeah, we will get weaker. Of course, our eyes not going to be as great as they used to be, or we may not be as strong and big as we used to be, right? That's just part of it because everything is decaying, right? Everything goes down. The sun, the trees, everything is falling apart. But that's part of the curse or whatnot. That being said, I'm going Proverbs 21:1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will, right? So it's saying God is in control. So whatever he want to do, it's going to happen. He's going to turn it this way. He's going to turn it that way. So if you want you to die, you dead. If you don't want you to die, you dead. You know, when you commit suicide, right? You just speed up the process. And if God, like, that's what you want to do, we're going to do it, right? Because now people think that when that happens, there is no God or stuff like that. And like I said, that's not the case. But the wages of sin comes with death. So the more you think about doing sins and stuff like that, this is where the wages come at. So people be like, you may have children who, I guess, get unalive and they're not here no more. People like, well, where was God then? Well, the problem is you don't know about this child's life and you don't know about the parents' life. That's the difference. You may see the people in their best state at parties, at churches, Sunday reunions, yeah, but you don't know what they're doing. You don't know that man could be a petty or a rapist. You don't know what's going on, right? You don't know what these people are doing behind closed doors. God does, though. And that's the difference. I was watching this show with my brother and it was a guy who said that Michael the archangel was talking to him, right? And he said that it was like a car that was on fire. So the dude, I guess with his abilities, he having dealing with the angel or whatever spirit he was dealing with, he saved everybody from the car, right? Everybody from the car except for this one guy. He did save him, but the guy got caught on fire, got burnt up really, really bad, whatever. And they said that when he was doing it, it made it look like he actually let him burn because he saved everybody immediately, but for him let him burn, and he was like, "Yeah," but he was like, "I did," and he said, "But you don't know that he was, touching children." So he was like, "But now his body mutilated, he can't touch children no more." Right? So that could have been God's punishment. Even though it's a show, that's just an example of how God could have punished this person, right? But we didn't see that because we don't know, right? So you just see on the outside, oh man, somebody on fire, but you didn't see 50 years of this man's life, 40 years or nothing like that. Good book that everybody should get if they haven't got it, or you can listen to it on YouTube. It's The Apocalypse of Paul, right? And I'll never forget, it's like one of the first people that they show on the judgment seat. And the angel come, and he got his records. And clearly his records must have been bad because the angel was hyped to give it to him. He was like, here go his records, he's terrible. And God said, nah, I don't even want all that. Just give me the last 4 years. So God wiped away all the other bad stuff he did for 30, 40 years, whatever he did. He wiped all that stuff away in one of the last 4 years. And he had asked him, you couldn't give me one good year out of these four, right? Just to show you that you may think you a good person or whatever the case may be. That's why Christ saying nobody good but God. You may think you're a good person. People may think you're a good person, right? But at the end of the day, we can't judge that condemnation. We can judge each other on earth, like, yeah, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, according to the Bible. But when it comes to your soul being in eternal damnation or eternal life, that's God's place because God can see everything. God know how many hairs I got. God knows how to use the bathroom. He know all that. Sometimes I forget what I ate the other day, right? He knows every single thing. How many times I ate, how many chews, all that. So he's the only one I feel like is in position to be the best judge and the only judge because he knows every single thing. Not even Satan knows everything, right? Not even the angels know everything, right? He knows every single thing. So why not let him be the judge, right? And with him being the judge, those are the things that you just gotta accept. So if somebody was to be gone tomorrow, like my friend was taking, I don't know why he was taking. I'm not so sure, but God had his reasons, right? And that's just how it is. But since I know that and I'm aware of that, like I said, every day I gotta make it count. I gotta live in it, right? So I'm gonna give you a couple examples about this, and this is the Lazarus and the rich man, and it's gonna talk about it. We'll talk about a particular person like him, all right, in the next chapter. So this is Luke chapter 16, verses 19 through 31. Luke 16, 19 to 31, and I'm gonna go read 13. So Luke 16, 19 through 31. And it reads, there was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died, and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. And beside all this, between us and you, there's a great gulf fixed, so that they which will pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us. What that would come from thence. Then he said, I pray thee, therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house. For I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham saith unto him, They have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. And he say, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. And he said unto them, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. So he's telling them, look, he's in hell, whatever. He's like, hey, tell them this ain't it, right? Now, mind you, he's a rich guy, all these things, but he probably thought he had that next day, right? He's a rich guy. He's telling them, hey, tell them this and that, right? But they're going to say, even if you a dead person, bro, they're not going to believe you, right? Because we're going to say the same thing that they were saying about Moses was saying and the prophets were saying. So there's gonna be no difference. But now you're trying to tell us that since you're dead or it be coming from you and you're dead, now they're gonna believe it more, which is not the case, right? People say they see spirits all the time, hear spirits all the time. That don't make them believe in God more. It don't make them believe that there's a hell more. They just believe, hey, I seen spirits. He told me what to do. He told me to do some tarot cards, or he told me to do this, or I'm gonna be blessed. He told me to wear stupid green rocks and stuff like that. That's what they're saying. So when we go to Luke chapter 12, it's going to I'm gonna kind of explain his scenario and his situation. So in Luke chapter 12, verses 13 through 21. Luke 12, 13 through 21. All right, it says, and one of the company said unto him, Master, speak to my brother that he divide the inheritance with me. And he said unto him, Man, who made me a judge or a divider over you? And he said unto them, Take heed and be aware of covetousness, for a man's life consists of not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth. And he speak a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentiful. And he thought with himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits. And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thy ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God. So this is similar to the rich man, right? So this dude had so much stuff, he built more stuff to hold the stuff that he had, right? He built a bigger building, whatever, to hold the stuff that he had. Cool, no problem, right? And he said, now I can sit back, I can enjoy everything I got, X, Y, Z, right? And he thinking he good, because mind you, earlier it says that the man's life doesn't consist of an abundance what he possesses, just like the rich man. The rich man had everything, Lazarus didn't, right? But people think that though. They think the more stuff they have, makes them a better person or makes their life more this and that. But not realizing I pass away, I'm in the grave. You pass away, you're in the grave. I pass away, I'm going to this side or that side. You pass away, you're going to this side or that side. But it don't got nothing to do with being rich, right? So just because you're rich, that don't mean you're gonna be good. Right? Just because you're poor don't mean you're gonna be good, right? Because God's not judging you by these material things that you have. Even though we want material things and have material things, that's not where the judgment comes or where it lies at, right? And then God says in verse 20, it says, this night, he called him a fool. This night thou soul shall be required of thee. So he's telling me it is not you gone, right? We need that. I need that back. So now that I need that back, it said, what should those things be which thou hast provided? So all those things that you did, right? They ain't gonna say now, you can't take them off the earth. What you gonna do? Bring them in hell with you? I mean, we ain't bring them over here 'cause we don't want them. So you gonna bring them in hell? They don't want them either. You gonna do nothing with them over there as well, right? Let alone it also saying you ain't provide nothing for God neither, because all that stuff ain't for me. All right, but you helping people, you spreading the word, you teaching people what's right and what's wrong. That helps God, right? That's what God wants you to do. But you just having a bunch of things and you keeping it to yourself, that don't help God. It don't show nothing about Him spreading His wealth. It don't show nothing about Him letting people come stay, helping out the home. None of that. He ain't doing nothing from the spirit. He doing all fleshly things. He got a whole bunch of stuff, and he rich, and he just sitting on it, right? So God says you live your treasure for yourself, but not towards Him. And this is what it was talking about in Matthew 6, right? Where your treasure at? Is your treasure with God, right? In heaven, or your treasure somewhere on earth? Do you treasure this person? Do you treasure these items, this car, these shoes? What do you treasure, right? Because this person treasured everything in the world, but there was no God involved. And God, what's crazy is to his own demise, he let him, man, you're gonna be rich, man. You're gonna have stupid money. Let me see what you do with it. And you know what happened? Every day he probably was thinking like I'm good, I'm rich, XYZ. And he could have been thinking I'm gonna get right with God. I'm gonna do that later though. Let me just go ahead and get myself out. People do all the time. They're like they'll get right with God when they 60, 70. Oh, the quote unquote the pandemic happened. They want to change their life around, which is cool because you're still around. God still give you that chance to flip it around. But just think about that. Before that stuff happening, what are you doing, right? And now God say, hey, time to go, buddy. So now what you got? He ain't got nothing for him, right? Because he ain't done nothing in the fruit of the spirit to bring nothing good to God, right? He ain't saved no souls, anything. But he thought he had another day, right? It says, but tonight you gone. He thought he had another day. You don't got another days, right? So now that you got another day, what you gonna do? Because all the days you had before, you had time to do something, you lost it. So just like me, you whoever, you may not have the other day, right? I may not be here tomorrow, so let me try to do the best I can today. Let me try to talk to people the best I can. Let me try to speak to people the best I can. Let me try not to crash out on nobody, talk to nobody crazy, do nothing wrong, try not to commit, sins just without repentance today. Like just doing all these things today because tomorrow might not be here. Boom, I get the next day. All right, cool, I'm still here. God got me here for a reason. Maybe someone else need to clean up. Let's go. So I'm cleaning it up, right? Whether I'm a quote unquote good person or bad person, I got things to do, right? So always think about that when you're living day to day. So this is what to do and why you should do it, right? Everything you should do and why you should do it. So the first verse is Luke chapter 9, verse 23. Let me see if I can post something on there. All right. Very good. All right, so Luke chapter 9, verse 23. And he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me, right? So it said, take up your cross daily. It's like saying, take up your burdens, you carry them every day, but it's a daily thing, right? Every day is like a start over. Every day is like, every day is a new day, but every day is almost like restarting the faith, right? Making sure you believe more than you believed yesterday. Making sure you was doing better, this and that, because like I said, that one little period where you stop, you have no idea that's going to be the end or the beginning. You don't know where it's going to be, so you shouldn't take those days off, right? Like I said, I'm guilty of myself doing. You shouldn't take those days off because when you take those days off, you just don't know what tomorrow. Like I said, I go to sleep tonight, and I could be in hell. I done already had some experiences. I think that was hell. That's more than enough. I done read about hell. That's more than enough, right? And still, I may fall into a situation where I feel like I'm promised tomorrow, but I'm really not, right? So, for instance, the next one is Hebrews chapter 3, verse 13, right? Hebrews 3 and 13. So Hebrews 3 and 13 reads, but exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin, right? So unless your heart is too hardened that you don't want to, uplift your brother or do good things, you're going to be towards the sin. It's telling you every day you should uplift people, right? You should talk to people, exhort them every single day, right? But you should do it today. Like, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you do it. So I might see a girl and I might, comment her nails or, hey, you got no trust on XYZ, right? Speak to people nicely and kindly because one, you don't know what people going through, right? But two, like I said, you may not get, so I got a funky attitude. I'm mad at everybody. I don't want to talk to nobody, XYZ. And the people are, oh, they going through whatever. And I'm going through my stuff, but I'm still being nasty and mean to people. Okay, cool. People do this to their significant others, their parents, whoever, right? I'm at work though. My example, I'm at work. And let's say a coworker wants to talk to me, want to invite me somewhere, or this and that, and I'm not hearing anything, and then tomorrow they're gone. I'm gonna feel bad because I could have prevented that if I wasn't in my mood, being controlled by my emotions, right? Or let's say I'm gone, right? I could have had a whole bad day, right? Let's say I was doing good my whole life, and there's one day I just started to just not care, disrespect people and stuff like that. God can judge me off that one day, even though I'm a saved person or quote unquote saved person. I've been baptized and everything. God can judge me off that one day, right? Because He'll be like, "Well, what did you do that for?" Right? And I could be thinking like, dang, dog, I only did it that one time. But that's the point. You don't know when your time is, right? So that's why you should treat every day like it's the last day. Every day like the last day. You know what I'm saying? I would talk to my brother about football, and I'm like, yeah, certain players. I'd be out there. CMC, he played like it's his last game. We had a what's the Redskins. They had a football game, a playoff game, and my brother always joke about he should have took me instead of his brother, his other brother. And it was a play where I think Deshaun Jackson, somebody caught the ball, and he could have reached for the goal line, but he didn't. And we wound up getting stopped, and we didn't score. We got like a field goal. We wound up losing that game, and I felt like that was critical. But I tell people all the time, I make a joke. It's the last game of the year. You can't hold nothing back because if we lose, it's it. We gotta wait till next year. So why not go hard? Same thing with the Lord. Why not go hard every single day? Because you have no idea if this is gonna be your last day. So when you're on the basketball court or whatever, like I said, why not go hard? Why not give it your all? But you don't do that because you waiting for that particular moment, or you're thinking tomorrow gonna be here. So you're like, I'm gonna just do it next game or next time or this and that. But you don't know. So why not just give it your all while you're here today? You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you're not promised tomorrow at all. Right? So the next one is Romans chapter 13, and this is verse 11. Romans 13, verse 11. It says, and that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake up out of a sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believe, right? So he's telling them salvation is here or it's near, which is true. It is here, it is near, because once you figure out who God is and you try to get life together, that's salvation, right? That's what it is. But salvation is near because you don't know when Christ is coming back. It may be today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. It may be 100 years from now. You don't know that, right? So that's one. And then the second thing, you don't know if you're going to die in between that time. You may die today. You may die tomorrow. You may die 100 years from now. You might be 140, right? Miracle guy. You have no idea when you're going to come up this earth, right? Whether it's through the second coming or whether God takes you before that, you have no idea. So every single day you should be treated like that. So that's what it means. Salvation is near. That's what it means. The kingdom is here. It's already here because you don't realize that next day you have no idea because time is different when you're in the spiritual world compared to the physical world, right? You may have let's say you go to sleep, right? You go to sleep and you'll go sleep for like 30 minutes and you'll feel like, oh man, I feel like I'm gonna sleep for hours. Yeah, because you're in the spiritual world. Your spirit don't know what's going on. Ain't no time there, right? The time is a little different, even though it is somewhat there's time, but it's different. When the Lord says, I think it's the Second Peter, He says, um, a day is like 1,000 years, which is crazy to me because it's 364 days of the year. You telling me each one of those like 1,000 years? That means you've been around for a long time, right? So then when it's put in that sense, oh, it makes sense to how you can actually build the earth in 6 days. I mean, it felt like 6,000 years. That's a long time, for you to be out there planting trees and coloring animals, all what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, but that's a long time compared to 24 hours. It seemed like a big old difference, right? So if that's how they feel, right, you have no idea. So like I said, for eternity, you don't know how long eternity is. One of the shows I was watching called Lucifer, the guy, he was dead, and one of the angels had brung him back or whatever, right? And he was telling me he needed help, to get Lucifer trapped or something or whatever. And he told him that he want to go back to hell. He said this man was dead for 30 seconds, and he was eating his food. He was dropping a sandwich. Like, you want to go back to hell? He was like, you was dead for 30 seconds, and it felt like 30 years. I just told you I'm 30 plus. I cannot imagine 30 seconds for like 30 years. I've been talking for over 30 minutes. So that is a long time to be in a place of torment. 30 minutes, like I said, 30 seconds. I'm not gonna do the math. That's just a long time. All right. That's a lot. Or Muhammad Ali, he breaks down eternity. He said, just imagine going to the beach, right? You can pick the smallest beach you want in the world. Take a piece of sand, a grain of sand, not like a whole handful, just one grain of sand. He said, pick it up, hold it for 1,000 years, and then wait and pick up the next one, hold it for 1,000 years, and do that until you pick up the whole beach. Boy, you ain't never picking up that beach, right? So just think about using eternal punishment for that long, right? I want to be in eternal life, but just think about using eternal punishment or torment for that long. That's a long time. So your mind has no idea what it is. So just think of every day as the next day, every day as your last day, because you just never know, right? So this is from the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 5, verse 7. Some of your books, depending on you on your phone or you're in a book, it may say Ecclesiasticus or it may say the book of Sirach, but it's the same book, and it's chapter 5, verse 7. It's one of my favorite verses that I came across. Probably one of my favorite books, Ecclesiasticus. It's like Ecclesiastes on steroids. It says, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security, and thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Right? So it's saying, make no wait to turn to the Lord. So it's telling you, don't wait on trying to go with God. Don't wait on this, just do it. Don't push God off, because when you do, right, you push him off from day to day. Now the wrath comes. Like I say, let's say you was going, I'm gonna get right Sunday. I'm gonna get right this and that day. I'm gonna get right X, Y, Z. All right, cool. You wait until Monday, but now realizing Sunday your last day, and you was wilding out doing whatever. Not saying you're not gonna sin. Not saying you're not gonna commit follies and stuff like that. It happens, but just think about how you just push God away. Like, I'm gonna just deal with him like he was like a notebook or something. Like, you know what? I'll read that later. I've done that too multiple times, right? And I've done it with multiple things. Like, I'll read a comic book later. I got these comic books, right? I guess I'll tell that story. I got these comic books, and my other comic books ain't came yet. I'm kind of upset because the comic books are like pre-ordered comic books, so it's like, I don't know, I'm gonna get these again, and I ordered them, and UPS lost my package, or I don't know, lost it or whatever. But it just says, I don't know. But anyway, just imagine if I treated God like that, right? If I gave him all this focus and that, like, what were my packages? Even though I haven't given him packages, that much attention, I have worried about him, right? But just thinking about how I can prolong. So I'm guessing to myself, maybe I don't got the book because I ain't read the other books. I got three other books I ain't read yet. They came, man, I read them. I don't know if I have the time, but I've been trying to, get myself better with God each and every day. So I ain't read them. So God, like, well, I'm gonna see more books for you ain't read these. But it could be 'cause I'm not spending enough time with God. I think I spend time with God, but maybe it's not enough. And that's cool. I can accept that because I should be spending most of my time, if not all my time, with God, right? and then ask him what should I do if I'm able to go free or whatever. Like my dad, he's my dad, so I should be able to ask him, can I go out? Can I go to the gym? Can I go do this? Can I go do that? And he say, no, I can't do it. Simple, right? But people don't do that. They want to do what they want to do. They want Christ to be their savior, but they don't want him to be their master, right? And it's a big difference. You want him to save you because you don't want to go to hell. You want him to save you and give you things. But when he tell you that you can't do this or do that, oh no, you don't want no ruler. People don't like their bosses. People reject their parents. Why would I want somebody who I can't see, that's not visible to me every day, tell me what to do? It's not gonna work, right? So don't put that off because you just don't know. Like I said, any given time when they say the Lord day, that could be the same day. Because like I said, the time is so different. So people who are tormented, right? They could be tormented for, let's say, 2 years, right? But it feel like 3,000 years, and then Christ comes back on that third year. They could feel like that, but to me, somehow on earth, I feel like it was 3 years, right? So you don't feel like that. So for real, the day is the same for them as it is at us. You just don't know because now you have no grasp of time. The sun ain't dead, the moon ain't dead. You have no grasp of time. You don't know what's going on because that's how the spiritual world works. A little different, fleshly side. So the day of vengeance is always near because it is today, technically, right? The Lord came back today already, or he came back yesterday. It's already happened, right? So you don't know that. You just ain't experienced it for yourself yet. So the last verse I'm gonna read is in Psalms. It's Psalms 118, verse 24. Psalms 118, verse 24. It says, "This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." Every day. Rejoice in it, be glad in it. Every day. This is the Sabbath, so this is a little more special, but rejoice in it, be glad in it. Tomorrow, if you make it, you're grateful enough that God bless you with mercy, rejoice in it. Be glad you made it, right? And yeah, like I said, stuff's gonna happen. You're gonna have woes, but hey, you made it another day. I tell everybody every day. Every day is a good day. I ain't got no bad days. I lost people in my life, been through all types of stuff. There's no bad days. And I've been through some stuff, right? There's no bad days. Was there bad moments? Oh man, sure. Was there bad seconds, bad minutes, bad hours? Woo! It's been even tough days. I'll say that. It's been some tough days, some tough nights. But to say I had a bad day, nah, because that day when I don't wake up, that might be the bad one. Because I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know my fate. I hope that I'm going to the place I want to go to, which is Abraham's bosom to be comforted, like Lazarus was, but I might not. So every day I think about that, right? I need to think about what should I do. And it kind of made me pick and choose, not because of just fear, because I'm in so much of a loss of words if I disappoint God, because that's my biggest fear to keep disappointing God. I don't care about nothing else, nobody else. That's my biggest fear. That's number one, right? Because I feel like you've given me so much and I still feel entitled, which I shouldn't, right? So that's my biggest fear, biggest disappointment. And I want to do it every day. So every day I wake up, I'm thankful for the things I have. I'm thankful for the things I don't have. And I go out and try to spread to everybody, go around, give people hugs, say what's up to them. Like, you shouldn't be sad today. You shouldn't be doing this. Whether it's a patient or not, like, hey, it's gonna be okay because I can see why you're mad at the moment, but at the same time, it's like, okay, like my comic books, I'm not really mad at them though, right? Because it's just a book. It is what it is. Compared to some people don't got food and stuff like that, and I still be able to eat, still be able to do this, still be able to do that. Is it something I addressed? Yeah, sure. I gotta address it. It's on the menu, but just think about people take for granted. I had a lady that had a situation with her eyes and she couldn't see out on one side and she was just crying. She was worried about she had a newborn child and was just worried about this and that. I just touched her, like, it's gonna be okay. Just keep praying on it. You'll be all right. But the fact that you still got another eye that you can help, like, God isn't going to necessarily just forsake you like that. Yeah, it may be a little more stronger and difficult. And I don't know what you've been doing with your life, but still, you still here and you at the office and you getting it checked out. God still can make a way, even if something bad happened. And you just got to understand that. So every single day, you rejoice in it. You should rejoice in it and you should be glad in it. Can you be rejoicing in it? Yeah. Can you not? That's on you. But I think you should rejoice and be glad in it because, like I said, these days that you don't cherish, I don't know why, but those days you cherish, other people would love to have them. Other people that's in hell, they would love to have that day back to get their life together. The people that got in a car accident now they like little they would love to have that day back to make them decisions back, right? And if you're healthy like myself or other people, and you have that time, hey, you should always cherish that, right? One of my favorite songs is "Shawty Cherish the Day" because you have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow because you may not make it there. You don't know what's going to happen today, so you need to focus on the day, accept that day, love, and rejoice in it. All right. So that was today's lesson. Anybody got any questions in the comments section or in the chat? Let me look and see. That's interesting. All right. So nobody has any questions. That's fine. Um, I'm gonna say a prayer, and then I'm gonna make some announcements because we got first fruits coming up, and then I'll let y'all go about y'all ways. Um, Dear Heavenly Father, all praise be to you with the Yeshaya and Rock. Thank you for another blessed day. We thank you for allowing us to be here on the Sabbath, waking us up again, to be able to be here to learn more about you. We thank you for your grace, your wisdom, your knowledge, your love, your mercy. We thank you for our food, raiment, and we just ask for a continuation to the coming of our Savior, Yeshaya. Amen. Um, First fruits is this Saturday coming up, the third. Um, you already know where we be. If not, you can always contact me on WhatsApp or on my phone, text me. You can reach out through the website. But Fresh Fruits is coming this Saturday, and then about 26 days later is the first day of summer, which will be on the 31st. So once First Fruits is over, I'll send out the flyer and put the flyer and stuff on the website for the first day of summer, which is the 31st. So that's happening next week. So if you can't make it here, you know we're gonna be on YouTube. And Bible study still on Monday. Hopefully we'll be on Zoom by then. If not, we'll still be on the WhatsApp, but little difficulties running on the Zoom the way I wanted it set up. So that's been a little situation. But that was Bible study, and then sometime in the middle of May is when I'll start the Hebrew classes. I don't know how they'll be, but the information we post on the website, and I also post it in the chat room. And that is all the announcements I think I have, actually. Um, yep. So I thank everybody for coming. Um, Glad y'all can be here, and I hope y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. And just think about and reflect on these things that were said today as you go through your day, focusing on the day and not tomorrow. So just try this one time. One time, just don't think about tomorrow. Just focus on today. So I love everybody. Shalom, peace, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome.